well, I heard people were not refilling the reservoirs, and I don't know if that's true, and blah, blah. What is this game we're playing? If it's true, just look it up. Literally, just look it up.
There's so many instances that I've seen of people that were identifying this as being a potential problem. And so, like, if Donald Trump could have figured this out, I would assume that other people probably also figured it out.
The f did he just say?
How is it that he figured it out, but they didn't even know?
Here's Asmongold's take on California burning down. Oh my God, do we want to watch this?
So yeah, California is burning down. Like, obviously, like, I'll probably make jokes and make light of things like this, but I'll say right now, like, you know, I made jokes about September 11th. I remember I was in 6th grade. I made jokes about September 11th on September 11th. So people didn't think they were that funny. So, like, I got a bad sense of humor, but man, like, I gotta keep it real for a minute. Like, it's actually so sad to see it happen. Insurance companies, so this is, I don't know, guys. Like, is this a bad take? I think all private insurance is a scam.
Insurance companies' reasoning for canceling policies for people living in Pacific Palisades in Los Angeles County was due to concerns about the increased frequency and magnitude of wildfires in the state. The decision was announced in March, claiming it would cancel 72,000 property policies in California, 30,000 of which were home insurance policies.
Jesus.
Around 1,600 homes in Pacific Palisades were victims of State Farm's policy cancellations. The company deemed the decision a necessary business strategy to prevent, quote, financial failure. It was allegedly due to California state laws that prevented companies from raising premiums to match the elevated risk. Other insurance companies...
That's also true. I mean, if they can't raise the amount... This is the problem with price fixing, effectively, is that if you're price fixing in an area, there is also a case where companies move out of the area. So it's kind of like another example of like the government trying to make businesses compliant and make them operate in the best interest of like a consumer. But what it ends up doing is the opposite. So like a good example is that whenever they had like those rules where like you could steal anything you'd want, well, you had probably a lot of stores shutting down after that. Like you're seeing this happen in New York City too. So when you have a system that makes it to where these companies can't make money, well, they're going to leave, right? I mean, they have to leave. So yeah, that's the cost of business. Well, I mean, if the cost is too high, you can't expect businesses to stay, right? Like, why would a business martyr themselves?
My understanding is that there are massive problems with,
like, I mean, and the thing is that nobody actually wants this to be true, and the people that do probably either don't have, like, if it was your company that you had your money invested in that was doing this, and it was doing the quote right thing and losing you, let's say, tens of thousands of dollars in your 401k, you'd be out of your mind furious about it, and you'd want those people replaced. So it's easy to be generous with other people's money or time, but when you look at it from the perspective of somebody who actually has accountability for this, I think it makes a lot more sense.
Followed State Farm's decision, which resulted in a significant homeowner insurance crisis in the state. State Farm's president and chief executive, Denise Hardin, rationalized her corporation's decision in a letter to California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara. Quote, windstorm catastrophes in early 2023 and increasing trends in non-catastrophe water losses and liability claims without the additional premiums needed to support those cost increases have generated large underwriting losses.
Exactly. Like, they can't make the money back if they aren't able to charge a high enough premium. That's why, like, I think that this is true inside of Florida as well, is that a lot of places don't have flood insurance anymore either. Because, or hurricane insurance, excuse me.
Included by expressing a need for reform while maintaining that she still wanted a company.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm evacuated their business.
That was considered empathetic and would be available to aid and assist.
California's wildfire crisis isn't just a natural disaster, it's also a policy failure. In recent years, state price control regulations have driven private home insurance providers like State Farm and Allstate out of offering new products in the state and led to the non-renewal of thousands of home insurance policies. California's price controls, whereby regulators must approve proposed premium increases, require insurers to submit detailed justifications for their rate increases to the California Department of Insurance. Crucially, those companies have until recently had to demonstrate that the that proposed premiums are based on historic losses, not analysis based on forward-looking risk assessments. This, according to what I was reading about yesterday, is highly problematic and is a policy failure in California.
Policyholders in need.
This idea that they can't, they have to use historic losses as a justification to raise their rates and not an analysis of future risk creates problems in the market.
Yeah, I'll be honest, like, I think insurance is a scam. I don't like insurance. I think that all things, like basically every function that insurance has, I think should be fulfilled by a government. Like, that's just my general opinion. I mean, you have like some types of like exotic insurance, like people that insure body parts who are athletes, or people who insure like high value art. Sure. But
do other countries have government subsidized insurance? Is that a thing? Yeah, I didn't know Asmongold was a socialist. Are there any countries with government subsidized insurance? I mean, on paper, I don't understand why you couldn't. Government subsidized insurance is available in several countries. Some examples include Germany, France, and Japan. But these are that's specifically for healthcare. Are there any countries that government subsidize home insurance? Well, we have subsidized insurance in the United States. Apparently, the National Flood Insurance Program in the United States provides subsidized insurance for homeowners in flood-prone areas. Countries like Denmark, France, Germany, Hong Kong, People's Republic of China, Korea, the Netherlands, Norway, Singapore, and Sweden play a major role in shaping and controlling the housing market to ensure housing affordability and welfare. Yeah, I would have to look into this.
I'm talking about like normal people insurance. I think these are functions that should be fulfilled by a government. That's my opinion, right? And so I don't.
That's very socialisty.
Yeah. I don't think State Farm is even really wrong for canceling everybody's shit. I don't think that they are, because if they kept doing it, they would have lost all of their money to begin with. So it's like, okay, well, martyr yourself or you're wrong. Okay, so you either go out of business or you're a bad guy. I wonder which one to do. Welcome to capitalism. This isn't capitalism. This is like every single person, like a monkey and a gorilla can understand like a form of, okay, if I give something this and I only get this back, it's not worth it, right? Like monkeys can figure this out. 5-year-olds can figure this out. This is not an outcome of capitalism. It's an outcome of common sense.
Well, and capitalism, right?
Community. That fire has left much of this once idyllic neighborhood in ruins. This is a neighborhood nestled between the Santa Monica Mountains and the Pacific Ocean. A beautiful
that's literally capitalism, but yeah, okay.
Place, but now unfortunately all but wiped out. CBS's John.
Taxes are so high in California. Where the hell's all that money go? I think that there's a lot of people in California who are wondering that exact question. I think there's a lot of people that are super curious. Where is the money going?
Well, our budgets are public. You can just look up the budget, right? Like,
that's a great question.
Jonathan Vigliotti has been covering this disaster since it began yesterday, and he shows us now.
There's no sense in asking rhetorical questions. Like, there's a website that you can go to where you can just look up the California budget. You can look up the proposed budget. You can look up the current budget. It's just, anybody can click on it. There's nothing stopping you.
Now, how it all unfolded.
As dawn broke in Pacific Palisades, we found a scene that can only be described as apocalyptic.
Yeah.
The once vibrant village off iconic Sunset Boulevard had stood like this for decades. Oh my God. Until now.
Wow.
We just arrived here in what is left of downtown Pacific Palisades, and I am overwhelmed by the scale of loss. Many people are going to return to
Look at this. Is incredible. Like, really, I mean, this is probably the biggest natural disaster we've had in a long time, I would say.
Well, there were the hurricanes recently. That might have caused more damage. The hurricanes in North Carolina and Georgia and
this is this is like a natural. Well, yeah, no, it is. These aren't. So, forest fires are natural. Like, they do happen in a natural environment. Now, they don't happen in the exact same way, and, you know...
Well, my understanding is that the overwhelming majority of fires, like wildfires that start in California, are because of humans. It's not that, you know, fire just spontaneously happens. Like, the climate in California would have to be so much hotter for fires to just spontaneously happen. I'm pretty sure every single fire is or down power lines. Yeah, that's another thing too. But that would also be like considered man-made, right? There was a guy, I believe it was it the Kenneth with the Kenneth fire? I don't remember the exact nomenclature, but there was one fire where the fire department suspects that it was a guy who started that fire, and there was like footage of that. And yeah,
obviously when there's a city,
he had a blowtorch, Hutch. Jesus Christ.
There, it's going to be different, but forest fires and these natural events occur on their own.
Many people are
not typically. I mean, you know, like maybe a lightning strike or, you know, but the 99.999% of the time, these fires are not just naturally occurring things.
going to return to homes that were lost, and even more important, their community completely gone.
Those flying into LAX last night.
Forest fires happen naturally all the time. All the time? Really? Hold on a second. Up to 90% of forest fires in the US are caused by humans. Lightning is the biggest natural cause of forest fires, but it is responsible for a smaller percentage of fires than humans. The different lightning strikes of varied electric voltages cause fire through directly igniting vegetation with high currents. Lightning fires are always more common immediately after dry seasons when vegetation is still dry.
Saw an endless blanket of flame, all from the Palisades fire.
Look at this. This is like the 2012. It's like a volcano. Oh my God. The Chinese drone started the fires. Oh, I thought it was God punishing California for having gay people in it.
That's right.
Which one is it?
That's right.
Those on the ground doing everything they could to save homes.
Team effort.
Yeah, let's get out of here. We tried, bro. I'm sorry.
We tried, bro.
And when water was needed most, the hydrants ran out.
I also think that there's a huge amount of people, like, I have to say that guys like this guy, I mean, I obviously, like, I get it, right? I get why you do this, but you're the reason why problems are as bad as they are. Because you had all these people that didn't listen to the government for the evacuation warnings, and then when the fires got close enough, everybody tried to evacuate at the exact same time, and then they caused massive slowdowns and effectively shut down roads, and now the roads are unusable for everybody, including the emergency services. So, like, it's people that were not listening to the government's warnings, and they inadvertently put tons of people at risk. And I find it to be like, I get why you do it. Like, I get it. But man, like, we saw all those cars parked and everything. That's what it is. Not good. No, I don't think this is an LA. This isn't an LA retard thing. I think people do this anywhere. Like, remember in Florida where you had those Dumbos that were sitting around, like right in front of the hurricane, causing problems? No, it's nothing unique. Or like people that didn't evacuate from that, and like their house was floating around. Are they afraid of looters? I mean, if I was a looter, I would feel like this is like pretty much a. I mean, this is like kind of like a server bug. And like, yeah, I'd probably want to take advantage of it for sure. Like
there has been some instances of looting. Gavin Newsom sent in the California National Guard to assist with the firefighting effort, but also to protect private property, because people have been driving up to hollowed out homes that have been destroyed by fires, seeing if they can find something to steal.
Duping bug?
No probable cause. He was booked on a felony probation violation.
I missed the first part of that. I'm sorry.
Definitely. But I'd also be afraid of getting caught on fire. And so, like, if you were a looter, here's the thing, right? Because I actually thought about this a lot. I was like, well, you know, if it was back in the day, would I be trying to, like, break into houses now? Actually, no. Because, like, so the thing is that a lot of the things that you'd steal out of a house, like most of the ways that people make stealing shit out of houses like worth it, is that they take stuff and they put it in the car, right? And so, and also like there's Ring cameras and everything that and those go to like a separate. Well, anyway, I thought about this for like 2 hours, right? It's like if I was gonna break into houses during the LA fires, like how would I do it? It's just like a thought exercise I was doing with myself yesterday.
Well, a lot of those Ring cameras are destroyed, bro.
And the end result of it was, I don't think that it would be.
I doubt a lot of those Ring cameras are still functioning if a fire like ravaged a neighborhood.
Worth it. I don't think so.
We tried.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And when water was needed most, the hydrants ran out. Three large water tanks are designed to hold 1 million gallons each. The first ran dry by 4:45 p.m. yesterday, the second by 8:30, and the third in the middle of...
And again, it's not an issue of like the Los Angeles officials didn't take the proper precautions. The tanks had been completely filled last week. In anticipation of something like this. It's just that like any of you guys can pull up a map. There's like maps that you can pull up online and take like so the fires are a little bit better now. Like there were there's basically two big fires right now going on, the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire, which is closer to Pasadena, a couple other small fires, but yesterday and the day before there were like major fires going on in 5 or 6 locations. And even though like the tanks were full, even then they just didn't have what they needed to meet the demands of a disaster this catastrophic.
Of the night.
We had a tremendous demand on our system in the Palisades. We pushed the system to the extreme.
The terrible toll, at least 1,000 structures destroyed,
Harambe.
15,000 more still at risk, and 37,000 residents who remain evacuated.
Oh my God.
Yeah, bro, those helicopter dumps are some of the coolest videos. This one from the Hollywood Hills was
She's back in the Palisades.
like, watch this one.
I understand that you have another structure burning behind you.
Look at that, dude. Bro.
Chelsea?
I could try to do that 1,000,000 times in Microsoft Flight Simulator and I would not be able to do that a single time. Like,
Back in the Palisades, and I understand that
just a really amazing feat of human ingenuity. To be that accurate with a drop like that is so cool.
Walk. This is crazy.
For many,
Yeah, I think that a lot of this happened because people didn't observe the warnings. Am I right about this? That people weren't observing the warnings of evacuation early enough and that caused a mass panic, which shut down the roads? I think that's probably what happened.
I didn't see any reports of that happening.
Hey, you guys are right. There's probably multiple factors.
Anytime you get a situation like this, there's going to be congestion on the freeway. So as soon as the evacuation orders went out, there was traffic pileup immediately. That was with people following the directives. I didn't see any report of like massive amounts of people that were staying behind. I'm sure some people did. I just didn't see any reporting on this being like a widespread thing.
Orders came too late.
I don't know how they didn't even really have time to ignore it because these fires, when they broke out, because the winds were so insanely strong, the fires spread so fast.
Q turns into the speed limit. Yeah, well, this is accurate because they're walking.
The flames move.
Watch this satisfying airplane drop old footage.
Right there, here he comes. Come over here. Dave! Coming here, on shit.
Yo. I'm going to ask a stupid question. Why is that? Was that a liquid? Why was that? What was that? That would scare the shit out of me. Why is it pink? Why is it iron oxidation? It's a fire retardant. Gotcha.
Moved in so quickly, people who were trying to evacuate, they panicked. Every car that you see here represents someone or a family that in that state of fear thought the best option was to abandon their cars and flee on foot.
Fire officials admit they were overwhelmed.
It's been more than 24 hours since this fire first ignited. Homes are still going up in flames on both sides of the street. Over here, this condo igniting, and there is not a single firefighter here on the street.
These fires are stretching the capacity of emergency services to their maximum limits.
So many landmarks like this are quickly being erased off the map. Reinforcements are being brought in, but for a community like this, so much has already been lost. 50% has been damaged or destroyed, and this fire continues to explode tonight,
just keep going, right? Yeah.
Jonathan Vigliotti finishing up day 2, now night 2 of his coverage from the front lines. Jonathan, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's just getting worse, man. It is. And kind of wonder why the military hasn't been drafted in to help. That's a great question. I don't know. Like, I feel like that's such a high-level question. I don't even really have the answer for it. I'm not sure. But to help with what? To help organize and get people situated inside of emergency areas. That way, the people that are working inside of the local government can focus on doing the things that are more endemic to the problem.
Sorry, what did he just say? I missed it. Hold on.
It's getting worse, man. It is. And kind of wonder why the military hasn't been drafted in to help.
The National Guard has been sent in to assist. That I don't know when this video is from. It was posted 20 hours ago, so maybe it was recorded a couple days ago. But yeah, I don't know how long it took them to deploy the National Guard. I want to say it was very quickly.
That's a great question. I don't know. Like, I feel like that's such a high-level question. I don't even really have the answer for it. I'm not sure. But to help with what?
The Navy has equipment sent as well. I mean, yeah, well, that makes sense, right?
To help organize and get people situated inside of emergency areas. That way, the people that are working inside of the local government can focus on doing the things that are more endemic to the problems that are unique to California. Like, that's what I would do, right? I mean, like, if I'm thinking about this logically, that's what would make sense. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm yapping. Yeah, right. And like a little bit, yeah, I'm just yapping about this. But it sure seems like that would make sense, doesn't it? What the And so L. Biden, I don't know. I mean, like, the thing is that, let me see if I can find some of this breaking. Yeah, look at this. It's really
L. Biden. Oh my God.
Really scary.
But their hands have been tied, and they can't fight a fire without water and the resources that are needed. Everybody knew these winds were coming. The other question has to be, you know, were all the things in place to try to, you know, again, mitigate the damage here? But the real issue to me is twofold. We've had decades to go remove the brush in these hills that spread so quickly.
See, that's the question that I have is, like, how much of this, because, like, there's so many instances that I've seen of people that were identifying this as being a potential problem. And so, like, if Donald Trump could have figured this out, I would assume that other people probably also figured it out. So,
what the f did he just say?
That I have is, like, how much of this, because, like, there's so many instances that I've seen of people that were identifying this as being a potential problem. And so, like, if Donald Trump could have figured this out, I would assume that other people probably also figured it out. So how is it that...
What?
How is it that he figured it out, but they didn't even know?
What did he figure out? What is he saying?
Yeah, human error. Yeah, exactly. It's so weird. Exactly.
He figured out fires? Is that what he's saying?
And the second is, you got to have water. And my understanding is the reservoir was not refilled in time and in a timely manner.
It was. It was completely filled up last week. This is just incorrect information.
To keep the hydrants going. So that's a failure, whether on DWP's part or another city agency. But this is...
What station is he watching here? Is this like Newsmax or something? What is this?
This isn't high science here. And it's all about leadership and management that we're seeing a failure of. And all of these residents are paying the ultimate price for that.
Misinformation often spreads during emergencies, like the California wildfires. So our Verify team has been tracking claims online to fact check them. First, is it true that Los Angeles recently cut the budget of its fire department? Yes, we can verify that's true. Last year's budget for the city of LA allocated just over $837 million to fire. The current budget allocates just under $820 million. That's $17.5 million fewer dollars, about a 2% cut. Second, our firefighters...
There's a lot more context to that. We covered it on the stream yesterday. Part of the reason why there was budget cuts was because we didn't need to, or the fire departments didn't need to order a certain amount of equipment that they had ordered the year before. Part of it was salary cuts, but also there were budget negotiations that were ongoing when the budget was passed in August. And what the state legislature did, as far as my memory serves, was they set aside $50 million in a separate fund to draw from after the bigger budget was settled in August. And so I think on balance, there was a budget increase when you include the funds that were agreed upon after the fact, I think in like November. But you know, the state was trying to balance its books across the board. And so I think overall there was around like a 2% decrease in our total budget, and the cuts to the fire department or fire safety was in line with that. It was like a little bit above that. It was like a 2.5% cut to the budget. So like everybody's budgets got cut as California was trying to cut spending. I mean, every state government does this. Some years you're going to spend more, some years you're going to spend less. Depends on, you know, if you're fighting a surplus or a deficit. Depends on what your goals are. Depends on what people's needs are. But again, to go from 800 and, you know, I can't remember the specific numbers, but to go from $850 million budget in 2023 or 2024 to an $830 million budget, that is not like the budget cut did not impact our response to this fire. Had no bearing on that whatsoever. It's not like they had a lack of access to the gear that they need to fight these fires. We already discussed, like, it wasn't an issue that they didn't like fill the water reservoirs. That's not a thing that happened.
Running out of water because the city refused to fill up its reservoirs? No, that is false. A local water policy expert told Verify, quote, "At no time during this fire has there been a shortage of water in Southern California. Their reservoirs are full." The issue, according to the water department, isn't a lack of water, it's getting the water where it needs to go. Demand is so high right now that as water travels through the pipes leaving the reservoir, a lot of it gets used up by firefighters who are closer to the source before it can reach crews in tanks that are farther away. The city is working to help those crews by using water trucks. And third, is this video of a man trying to rescue a rabbit from the flames from the LA fires? We can verify this is also false.
I want to say this is an old video. I feel like I've seen this video like years ago.
Using reverse search tools, we found the video is not from the current fires. It was recorded and posted 8 years ago.
Yeah.
That fire also took place in Southern California, and the man successfully rescued the rabbit.
Which really pisses me off, because like somebody, now you know, like somebody deliberately, I hate people that do that, bro. Because you know that somebody went out of their way to find a video, you know, man, like search, like they went out of their way to be deceptive about it. It's like, it's so fucked up, dude. I hate it. And Asmongold, like, I don't understand what's stopping Asmongold from just like, as he's reacting to the video where you're hearing this guy make this claim that California didn't fill their reservoirs. What is stopping Asmongold from pausing the video and just like looking this shit up? It's not hard. We do it here on the stream all the time. It takes, you know, a cursory Google search takes less than 5 seconds if you're a fast typer. It just strikes me as so irresponsible because, I mean, he's just such a massive creator, bro. This has 750,000 views. I feel like when you have a platform that massive, when you have any platform of any size, really, but especially when you have a platform of his size, you should take the time to just Google search shit sometimes, you know? You shouldn't. You don't need to speculate. You can just look this stuff up. Like, well, I heard people were not refilling the reservoirs, and I don't know if that's true. And blah blah. What is this game we're playing? If it's true, just look it up. Literally, just look it up.
Why isn't there water in the fire hydrants? That doesn't make any sense.
There
You're
is.
right. That's a good question. And I think you should start asking, why don't you call the mayor who's out of the country and ask her? And get an answer from.
I mean, that is inexplicable. For the mayor to stay in Ghana is like inexplicable. I don't know how you could justify that. That's like the Ted Cruz Cancun thing on crack, you know, because she's directly responsible for. What an inexplicable thing to not come back immediately or not come back ahead of time. He defends her?
From her.
Well, they say she's on her way back, and that would be a great question to ask her tomorrow if she's at this briefing at 8 o'clock in the morning, because I think there's a lot of people that are outraged.
I mean, I'd be like, oh, it's burning down. Thank God I'm over here. Jesus, man. Can you imagine if I was at work?
Doesn't strike me as a serious defense, but okay.
Oh, man. That would suck. Yeah, I'd be like, guys, I'm on vacation. I told you I'm on vacation, okay? Like, y'all gotta leave me alone.
By that fact tonight, when they look at scenes like this, and businesses that people have worked really, really, really hard to build, and homes that people's entire livelihoods are going up in.
I can't see the news. I feel like he's responding to Newsmax here. I'm pretty sure this is Newsmax he's reacting to. Why would you choose Newsmax of all news outlets to react to? Newsmax, really?
Flames tonight. So for you watching this and seeing those flames,
it's not the exact same as Ted Cruz. The difference in what made Ted Cruz worse is because Ted Cruz left while it was happening, and this woman was gone, and it happened while she was gone. So
no, but my understanding is that she was warned that it could happen. So she was warned that, yeah, I don't think there's any good reason why she would stay in Ghana. That's insane to me.
Like, there's one thing it's like basically, so like imagine it's kind of like, okay, so let's say you're doing Veil and BWL, right? And the raid is...
What are these terms are well over my head.
Going to end up wiping on Veil. But you leave the raid, you say, hey guys, I've got to go eat dinner, and you leave the raid before the poll starts. Well, like Ted Cruz was hearthing out during the fight. Like, while things were going wrong, he's a warrior. He's supposed to be tanking the boss. He's hearthing out in the middle of the fight. That's a totally different thing than leaving. Now, maybe you could say, well, that was our top healer that left. We needed to have them there. They shouldn't have left. Very true. But hearthing out in the middle of the fight whenever you're supposed to tank, roaching out in the middle of the thing, that's totally different. LA mayor was worse. She cut funding to the fire department, acting like LA doesn't have fires every year. I'm talking about two separate things, okay? Like, I see what you're saying. I get what your point is, but... Okay, I think I'm done.